Jobs that'll be taking place on Thursday. And the reason we're mentioning that is because, as we all know, it is a very tough job market out there. You spend hours polishing your resume and you finally get the job interview, but how do you ace that job interview? Well, for more on that, we are joined by author Mary Eileen Williams. I kept wanting to call her Mary Ellen. Mary Eileen Williams, and you're the author of Land the Job You Love.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, first and foremost, right off the bat, I mean, you say so yourself, there are 5 job interview questions that you need to ace in order to get this job.
Absolutely. There are more than that as well,
okay.
But these are the 5 critical ones that you want to make sure you are well prepared to answer.
All right, and we all encounter these every time. The first one, though, being, tell me about yourself. So how do you respond to that?
Well, this, I think it helps. We'll step back just a moment. You need to think of yourself as a product to be marketed out there to potential employers. So what you want to do is consider creating a brand for yourself. This is actually your branding statement. It resembles a professional profile on your resume. You need to state the function that you provide, the experience level that you bring, and 4 or 5 key skills that are relevant to what they have wanting in the posting.
Interesting. So think of yourself more as a product. All right, number 2. Why do you want to work here? How would you target that one?
This one is one of my favorites because you definitely want to nail this. Employers want people who can do the job, but they want people who want to work there. So you show your enthusiasm and interest for the position by having done your homework. And I would start off by saying, well, I've done my homework.
Okay.
And then mention a couple of things about the company that you find especially intriguing and interesting.
So you really care about the company. All right. Number 3, what are your greatest strengths? So basically you're talking yourself up here?
Yeah, yes. Okay. And a lot of times we can come up with things that we find, to be our weaknesses or whatever, but you have to nail a minimum of 5 strengths and then support those strengths, back them up with examples of you performing your work at its best. By using the examples, therefore you are claiming that you actually own these skill sets and what you've done and the positive results you've achieved by using these skills.
Okay, so make sure you have your backup as well. All right, number 4, how do you handle event-specific situations? Now, what does that particularly mean?
About 15, 20 years ago, employers started doing something that they call behavioral style interviewing. Well, they will ask you a question like, give me a time or give me an example of a time when you had to deal with this situation and how did you handle it. So event-specific situations, you think, oh, how can I prepare for those? But you can by totally understanding that job posting and then assuming questions that they are likely to ask you, and then you prepare what I like to call a little cheat sheet for that.
Okay, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit after question number 5 and the do you have any questions for us? Now, I've heard this is probably one of the most questions that you need to nail.
Yes, you're not only showing your interest and enthusiasm again for that position, but you also can show that you have done your homework by asking questions that a knowledgeable insider would know to ask. I like to start out with open-ended questions so that you get the hiring manager talking about his or her true needs. So something like, what do you see to be the most critical components of the position? What are the longer-range goals of the position? How could the new person make your life easier?
Okay, and before we go, I want to make sure, because you brought this here and it was really handy in terms of, you're talking about a cheat sheet. So how to have it.
Yes. You want to have a portfolio, something like this, and inside you'll bring several copies of your resume to hand out to people.
Okay.
But leave it open, have a copy of your own resume in front of you, and in the margins write down some keywords that are going to trigger those examples that you can use for event-specific questions. Also, it gives you something to do with your hands. It keeps your body language open.
Fantastic. All right. Mary Eileen Williams, thank you so much for joining us, the author of How to Land the Job You Love. And Paul, for more information, we go to you.
You bet. Yeah, thanks, Sabrina.
Great advice.
Mary Eileen, you've been on before, and you're fantastic. Just really wonderful, useful takeaway information. If you want to learn more about perfecting your interview techniques, log on to fox40.com, click the green Go button at the top of the home page. Darren.